Very lively conversation. Excellent. We then visited about Native peoples and constitutions. Quite an amazing session. It was cross-cultural, right? It was comparative. So we learned a great deal about the four settler nations, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the U.S., and a great deal about the impact of Article 10. By the way, correct me, I'm not a lawyer, so if I get this wrong, you got to correct me. The impact of Article 10 on what it means to be an American Indian in Montana. Very moving, actually. Then last night was very exciting. It was crisp, it was thoughtful, it was profound, it was civil, and as I shared with Carl after the event, our motto is learn and reflect together, and I have to say I've been doing a lot of learning and reflecting about that conversation last night, so thank you so much for that. So as we begin today, just a reminder that each of you received a folder, the magic folder, and honestly the most important thing in the folder are the constitutions, right? And again, that's another element of this event that is quite moving to me personally. I'm spending a lot of time rereading and rereading and rereading. And you realize the constitutions are living documents that shape, that form, that influence our lives, right? They're not inert. They're not just there on the page. They make a difference, these constitutions. So in any case, we have the conversation etiquette, which I don't need to return to because people were just doing a great job, so I won't dwell on that. I did want to underline, though, there's also a list of suggested readings. I don't know if you saw that, and I have to credit Jim Lopez. Jim just came in. Jim gave us a list of 4 books that you can consult when the conversations are over, so the learning and reflecting can continue. And so my thanks to Jim, and I, for one, intend to spend some time with those books, so thanks so much. Last but not least, we do have an evaluation form, and I really encourage you to fill out an evaluation. I think my staff is absolutely the best staff in the world. We're fantastic. We're committed to our work, but you know what? Virtually every event is a kind of experiment for us. We're trying new things, and so we learn all the time. We take seriously that idea of learning. And so please take some time to fill out the evaluation form and hand it to myself or Kim Anderson or Sam Dwyer or Ken Stoltz. We all have our prominent name tags here, so please do that by all means. Now, I cannot forget to say that we have a luncheon today, a special luncheon. It's in honor of the Constitutional Convention delegates. It's going to be a wonderful occasion. It's just next door. Many people have been kind of wondering, is this going to be upstairs? Where is it going to? It's actually going to take place right around this particular divider here. So please, I hope everyone will join us. We'll have a chance to thank the Constitutional Convention delegates in person. We'll hear a wonderful talk by Chuck Johnson, who was there, right? He was there in 1972. And he's going to talk with us about the impact of the Constitution on Montana for the last 40 years. So very thoughtful comments. So without further ado, our first panel for this morning is going to focus on the environment in constitutions. And Irma Russell, who is the Dean of the University of Montana School of Law, is going to serve as moderator. And so, Irma, I think I'll just let you take it away.
Okay. And I'll come up there. We'll decide to present them up there.
Ah, very good. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And thank you all for coming out. When I saw our time, 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, I thought, oh, it may be a conversation with not very many conversationalists. So I really appreciate you all being here. It is a thrill to meet the delegates, to meet you all, but in particular, to be able to see part of our history and to really touch out and get to know the people who did this wonderful thing, wrote this amazing Constitution. And I'm delighted to have 2 of them on my panel. So I have just a few introductory remarks. I'll introduce the panelists, and they have, 10 or 11 minutes each, to give some remarks from the podium. And then we'll enter the truly conversational part with the panelists asking questions of each other. and then expand that conversation to the audience. I want to thank Ken and Montana Humanities. I think this is really a marvelous type of conference to bring us together, and this is an extension of We the People. It's really preparing us for our next step forward as a democracy. As Ken noted, I'm the Dean at the University of Montana School of Law, and it's a pleasure to be here to represent the law school, and also proudly to be in conversation with some of our faculty members. And I'm delighted two are here this morning. Am I missing anyone? Professor Ray Cross, who's here. Ray, I think everybody knows you, but Ray was the moderator on yesterday's panel. Anthony Johnstone is here. Anthony, formerly of Helena, and I believe formerly a professor here at Carroll College. And he will be on a panel this afternoon. Also, Jeff Renz will be on that panel this afternoon. So I also want to note that this conversation etiquette that we've been given is really more than an etiquette. It really is a good template for learning and understanding. It's something that I mention to students, and I'm happy to have it in this very methodical way to remember to mention it to students. Because not only contributing, listening, speaking, but also making those links. And I really saw that in action in the panels yesterday. And we all have our constitution, so we can make those links, because, as I said, we really are in the next stage of going forward and continuing this dynamic process. So, as I said, I have two delegates on the panel, and it's my pleasure to introduce all three now. The panelists are Judge C.B. McNeil, Arlyne Reichert. Am I saying that correctly, Arlyne? Thank you. And Joe Balyeat. And Joe, am I saying your name correctly?
No.
Oh, no. Go ahead and please correct me.
Balyeat.
Balyeat. Okay. So turning first to the judge, the Honorable C.B. McNeil was a lawyer in Polson when he was elected as a delegate in 1972 to the Constitutional Convention. He was elected judge in 1984. In 2001, at the Public Land and Resources Law Review Conference at the University of Montana, he delivered a talk, A Clean and Healthful Environment and Original Intent. And that talk was very impressive and a very helpful background for me in preparing for this panel. And it also was published in our law review. So I recommend it to you for further reading. And I think the judge will tell us about his experiences as well as offer insights. And I just want to note that he introduced delegate proposal number 20, providing the article entitled Natural Resources, and then ultimately, after further debate, introduced delegate proposal number 21, which I believe is the language that was adopted. I'm also happy to introduce Arlyne Reichert. Arlyne was born in New York City. She is a longtime resident of Great Falls. She worked for McLaughlin Research for 23 years, and when she retired, she was assistant director. She served as a delegate to the 1972 Constitutional Convention and in the Montana State Legislature in 1977. She's a founding member of and the current president of Preservation Cascade, and also serves on the board of the Montana Capital Restoration Foundation. She has received many honors, including the National Distinguished Citizens Award. So we really have two legislators and two delegates and overlapping categories on this panel. Joe Balyeat was elected to Senate District 34, representing Bozeman, Montana, in in 2004. But before that, he served for 2 terms in the House of Representatives. Joe is a certified public accountant from Bozeman. He is currently chair of the Senate Business, Labor, and Economic Affairs Committee and vice chair of the Senate Fish and Game Committee. He is a lifelong Montanan and comes from 3 generations of farm and ranch ancestry. He is an outdoor enthusiast, and he presented the amendment, the Hunting Heritage Amendment, which was added to the Constitution in 2004. So, brief remarks. I have learned more from getting prepared for this panel. Is May Nan here this morning? I don't see May Nan, but I want to thank her for stopping by my office and giving me some of her reflections as a delegate and framing a little bit for me the memories of her time and of what was going on both in Montana and nationally at the time the convention convened. And she focused on, of course, something that we probably all remember if we think of the 70s. It was the beginning of the passage of the canon of environmental laws nationally, beginning with MEPA and moving on in a very methodical way. But the national scene was also reflected in Montana. There was strip mining that was going on and some significant pollution. And I've heard, living in Missoula, that the air in Missoula was hard to breathe and hard to see through back at that time. It's much better now. If we have cloudy days, it's because it's clouds. So in Missoula, we're thankful for that. So times have changed, and yet we have enduring principles that we will focus on today. So with that, I will turn it over for introductory comments from Arlyne Reichert.
Thank you, Dean Russell, and welcome to everyone, and thank you to the Committee for the Humanities for sponsoring this event. And happy Earth Day! This happens to be a coincidence. I think it's great. 40 years ago, on March 24th, 100 of the Montana Constitutional Convention delegates signed our new document. We're just amazed that all 100 signed. You know, we had our little, nothing is perfect, and we had our little differences throughout the convention, but every one of the delegates signed on that fateful day. And in April, about this time of the year, we were wondering how we could appeal to the voters to vote for the document. And fortunately, one of the 5 ministers who was elected, Reverend George Harper, many of you knew from this community, came up with a perfect slogan: praise the Lord and pass the Constitution. And we had it made into bumper stickers. And Montanans did pass the Constitution. I want to take you back today to those times back in 1972. I think it's fitting to begin this discussion with our beautiful preamble. It sets the tone for the significant environmental provisions in our document. And 2 of our youngest delegates composed it. Bob Campbell, I saw him come in. There he is. And May Nan was only 24 years old. She sat next to me. I thought I was old. I was 46 then. I was just a kid. But May Nan is a grandmother today. And you're a grandmother. I'm a great-grandmother. But in any case, to get back to the subject, Irma might have to stop me because I kind of wander. But the point is that this preamble, it bears repeating. It's beautiful. We, the people of Montana, are grateful to God for the quiet beauty of our state, the grandeur of our mountains, the vastness of our rolling plains, and desiring to improve the quality of life, equality of opportunity, and to secure the blessings of liberty for this and future generations, do ordain and establish this Constitution. Beautiful words.